The methodical treatment and elimination of men and women with physical and mental disabilities during the Holocaust was a disturbing period in history of deeply ingrained ideologies that were promoted by propaganda and information that was withheld from families and from society. What is eugenics? Eugenics is a false science that theorizes that the human race can be improved and further developed through selective breeding. The term eugenics was first introduced in 1883 by Francis Galton, cousin of Charles Darwin. During this time, the topic of human improvement was widely talked about, alluding to the superiority of certain groups of people over others. Later on, eugenics became an international movement in the 1920s. Countries such as Great Britain, Mexico, the United States, Germany, and more had great support for eugenics. One of the most prominent examples of the practice of eugenics took place in Nazi Germany. In the lead up to World War II and the Holocaust, Nazis viewed people with mental, physical, or social disabilities as hereditarily ill and a financial burden on the state of Germany.
They were seen as unfit to be part of the Aryan race in the eyes of the Nazi regime. The answer to this obstacle was to begin a systemic program to sterilize or murder these people. On July 14, 1933, the Nazi governments passed the law for the prevention of offspring with hereditary diseases. In October 1939, at the beginning of World War II, Hitler authorized the beginning of the euthanasia program.
Men and women with mental and physical disabilities were targeted for murder in what the Nazis called the T4, or euthanasia program. The program had German doctors who aided the Nazi regime by looking at medical records and determining if the patients should be killed or not. They also supervised the killings that took place.
Germany had 6 special institutions that were designated for the killings of targeted eugenics. At these institutions, they had constructed specific and special chambers to kill them with gas.
Small children and babies were also killed by injection of deadly doses of drugs or by starvation. Once they were murdered, their bodies were then burned at a crematoria. 200,000 people of eugenics were killed from 1940 to 1945.
In 1941, people began protesting against the medical treatment. So on August 24th, due to the immense public criticism, Hitler decides to end the euthanasia killings. However, Nazis did not stop the killings, but instead went underground and continued in secret so that they could continue killing. They didn't truly stop until 1945. Many agencies supported the sterilization measures. The hygienists used media, photos, film of people with disabilities as propaganda for having the public comply with the program. In 1939, the German government made every hospital and clinic register any newborn who had any disability, and then 2 years after any child's birth they were ordered again to check for disabilities. Throughout the war, doctors and nurses killed between 5,000 and 10,000 infants and children. Robert Wagnermann's parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, which made him and his family targets during the Holocaust. He watched as his father was harassed by his neighbors and his mother was arrested while she was pregnant with Robert, but soon after she was released she went into labor.
The birth resulted in Robert having a hip injury and a permanent physical disability. Being disabled and a Jehovah's Witness meant that he was targeted by the Nazis in two different aspects. At 5 years old, Robert was forced to go to the university clinic at Heidelberg to be examined. At the examination, the doctors decided that he should be killed because of his disability, even though his disability was an incident at birth and not genetic or something that could be passed on. The doctors decided this not in front of his mother but in the other room.
His mother overheard their conversation, and when the doctors left for lunch, she grabbed her son and ran from the clinic. They ran away to live safely, but Robert started gaining attention at school when he refused to salute Hitler. Before the authorities found him, they ran to his grandparents' farm to stay hidden until the end of the war. In the 1960s, he moved to America. Now he is married and has children and grandchildren. Also, his disability has never proven to restrict him in his work.